Okay.
Chairman.
We'll call this meeting to order. This is a monthly Park and Recreation Commission meeting. Generally, this meeting is normally held the last Wednesday of the month, but due to some uncertainties and some agenda items, it's going to be, it's obviously being held here June 4th, so for the record. My name is Kelly Rosecrans. We'll just do a round the table introduction here, beginning with the mayor.
Mayor Zach Fruick.
Colleen Dickman.
Dick Bain. Chad Worrell, District 1.
Greg Hepp, District 6.
Derek Johnson.
Mary Wolosik, staff member.
Matt Heidemann.
Dawn DeSorcy.
Dave Laspa, City Engineer.
Thank you. I know Jackie Shea is supposed to take Mike Hittner's place on this commission. I just want it for the record, Mike Hittner has been on this commission for a lot of years, long before me, and he did a wonderful job, and I just want that known. Great gratitude. So. Okay, let's move along to the first item of business here, approval of the April 30th, 2014 Park and Recreation Commission minutes.
I would move approval.
Motion by Colleen, seconded by the mayor to approve the April 30th minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We move on to the election of officers. I think, Matt, you would run this? Pardon?
Last time, I think the mayor.
The mayor, okay.
Open it
I
up
think for the election of Park and Rec officers, I think is ran by someone else.
Okay, so I will open up nominations for chairperson, I suppose, first, right? We've got chair, vice chair, and is there a secretary of the commission?
I don't think so.
Just chair and vice, okay. I'll open up entertain nominations for chairperson.
Nobody.
Anybody wanting to nominate anyone? Jackie's the only one not here, so.
Nominate
Chip
Kelly.
isn't here either.
Yeah, right, Jim isn't here either.
Sounds like you have a nomination.
I'll nominate Kelly.
We have a nomination for Kelly.
I'll nominate Mayor Berwick.
Can I serve as chairperson? Not sure. Dave is probably the one with the most history.
I've never known the mayor to be chairman of this commission.
Maybe not.
So we have a nomination for Kelly Rosecrans, and I guess I would decline the nomination for without knowing whether or not I can serve as chair or not. I would nominate Jackie Shea. She's not here, unfortunately, so she can't speak to it, but I would nominate her as somebody that I think is also capable as well, so. Any other nominations?
Well, it's Kelly, are you willing to?
Yeah, I suppose I
Be
will
chair?
serve as chair again.
I would stay on for another term.
Could we get it for 2 years?
So, yeah, I think we can serve. Who was our chair before?
5-year contract.
Mike Hittner.
Oh, Mike was chair,
Hittner
that's right.
before
Yeah,
Kelly.
before you. Yep, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, Connie Brzezinski wasn't, and she stepped down, so.
I wonder if Jackie would be interested in vice chair then.
Mhm.
Who's vice chair now?
Me.
Chad.
Oh.
All right, so you're willing to accept, and without Jackie being here. So I will entertain the motion for vice chair as well. Close nominations for chair. Entertain motions for vice chair. We've got a nomination of Jackie Shea as vice chair. Anybody else willing to nominate someone as vice chair? All right, we'll close nominations for vice chair, and which will move into a vote. We've got Kelly as chairperson and Jackie as vice chair. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Your chair. Turn it back over to you.
Thank you.
We had a like unanimous ballot.
Okay.
I think we'll leave it at
Is there anybody
that.
up this year, this term then?
I've got one more appointment to make, and I haven't been able to connect with Jim to see if he desires to be reappointed or if he's willing to have someone else be reappointed. So he's the only one that is up right now in terms of terms, I think.
Okay.
15 or 16 maybe for your son. Anyway.
We could look it up, I know it's in here.
Yeah, I don't know how clear it is in there.
the rest accurate in here?
I believe so.
Right there.
Oh, that's
Park and Rec. Jim, council appointment is Chad. Dick Boehm is up May of next year. Kelly Rosecrans, May of 16. Derek, May of 17. Jackie, May of 19.
okay.
So with the exception of Jim and Dick are up next.
Jim's been on board since, or? is that-
His term expired in 13.
13.
Nobody else has been reappointed or
Okay.
appointed.
Okay, we'll move along. Item number 4, review and approval of Complete Streets recommendation from the City of Wisconsin Rapids Outdoor Recreation Plan, year 2012 through 2016. Now, Dave, are you here?
Yeah.
For that?
I guess it's unless the mayor wants to.
We can tag team it. I guess this is kind of a continuation of a couple of months of conversations that we've had following, taking a look at the outdoor recreational plan, particularly as it relates to Complete Streets. And Complete Streets is defined, was defined at our last meeting as, I guess I would defer to Dave for maybe the official definition of Complete Streets.
My understanding, complete streets just to accommodate pedestrians and bicycles along with regular vehicles.
So loosely promoting all uses of
Right.
the road, not just vehicular traffic that we would recognize as a reason to have a street. So at our first meeting, we talked about outdoor rec plan. The second meeting of that conversation, which I think was our last meeting, we talked about definitions of complete streets and how we want to probably refer to this Public Works Committee of the City Council for some changes or the adoption of some additional bike accommodations on our streets. And then at this meeting, we thought we'd bring forth what we felt as staff and conversations at our last Park and Rec meeting is a lack of connectedness to our city parks by alternative modes of transportation. So while we do a great job of connecting our parks via streets, we don't connect our parks very well with alternative modes of those choosing to walk or to bike or to run or whatever other choice of transportation they may choose. Subsequently, there was conversations with the county about a bike map app that would be developed countywide to recognize bike trails throughout the county, or bike routes really throughout the county. So we started taking a look at, from a city standpoint, what do we have on the maps today, what's been proposed in the past, and then what would we propose today for additional routes. I think at maybe 2 meetings ago, we approved the route connections through Veterans Park. We approved the route that is now working, making some good progress along the roundabout up along First Street. And then we took a look at, okay, what are other streets that we've got that could accommodate marked bike lanes and just designated share roads, meaning bikes can use the streets, but yet you're not gonna have designated lanes based on width and parking accommodations that are on the street today. So Dave, I think that kind of covers my introduction.
Okay, well, Adam Kagan worked with us and he actually developed this map. You can see the green areas are the parks. They're not all identified, but we went through and we put on here what you've got is the Cranberry Trail is listed on there, but that's actually outside the city. That was listed on the state bike trail map. That involves 48th Street, 52nd, coming down from Buren. But the other trails on here, the green trail and purple, red, and yellow were the Attawagum Trail System that was compiled by our former Director of Public Works, and there is some signs out in the field that show some of those trails. And then we went and tried to pick most of these are collectors or arterial streets, and most of them have to be sharrows because at this point we can't mark bike lanes on unless we take the parking off, and that's be an involved process because we'd have to notify all the residents because they like to park in front of their house and make sure that they would be understanding to do this. We're looking at one though is Baker Street. It really doesn't have a no parking restriction on it now, but the traffic's so heavy and it's so narrow nobody really ever parks on it. So we could put bike lanes on that, and on the west side, 25th Avenue is already marked as a bike lane. we'd have to mark a little bit of gainer there from gainer to the bike trail. And the rest of these are, would be Sharrows. We're gonna take a look at some sort of signage. The manual that I go by, by the federal highways, manual and uniform traffic control devices, doesn't have anything other than the bike sign or a bike route marker. So we're trying to figure out if we can put them on the street signs, identifying streets that would be Sharrows on the street signs, or some other method to assist people in which streets they should go on.
So our hope was to accommodate any sort of street pavement markings with the routine streets markings that would happen yet this summer, in the next couple of weeks. So the way it's all kind of done at the same time, whether it's a Sharrow or an on-street marking, as Dave has mentioned. And we thought, as he talked about, what sort of flexibility do we have for signage? So if you're on Baker, for example, and you're a motorist, what sort of recognition do we want maybe below the street name sign for the fact that it's a recognized bike route? So that's the piece that Dave is looking into, if there's coloring of signs, what size of signs, and that flexibility. So we can just further recognize the fact that the city is making an effort to make bicycle accommodations on its streets. I would also add, I had a conversation with Sue Bujak from Midstate regarding kind of this whole concept, as it's now started to kind of permeate people's circles, and she stated that at some level Midstate would be very interested in supporting some sort of routes or paths, particularly as it relates to their wellness initiative for their employee base. So I thought that was encouraging for us as we move forward with connecting our parks to bike lanes, or to bike routes, that our large employers also should be considered at some level as well. I think Peach Street accommodates Renaissance Learning very well. The school district is connected, and just kind of connectedness to the parks in general. This was another large employer of the county by way of the First Street Connected Trail. City Hall, obviously, and others. So the plan, Dave, as we've talked, would be to get sort of kind of a blessing from this group if we feel that it makes sense, and then go to Public Works Committee for the ones that, the few that you mentioned, Baker Street, and if there's any others about removing on-street parking, so we've got recognition for an actual painted lane, and then paint the lanes, and then paint the Sharrows, paint the bicycles with the two corporal stripes over the top, indicating that it's a shared route, and the definition, right, of that.
So I understand it correctly, you actually want to change the ordinance and make Baker non-parking from where to where?
From, essentially it'd be from
Jackson.
First Street or First Street and Market Street down there.
To 16th?
All the way to 16th, yeah.
Okay.
16th turns into a 4-lane at 16th,
So then you can't,
Right, would it be a Sharrow then?
Lanes,
Okay.
but it's Sharrow.
okay. Got it.
And that was pretty much the only.
A little piece of gainer, yeah.
Gainer, and then West Grand already has, we just have to check the width on that, if we can paint the lines up to City Hall that are already on the bridge. We talked about Chestnut Street. The challenge with Chestnut Street is St. Vincent's and the large need for on-street parking there when there's functions happening. That we could do lanes, probably the other areas. I mean, if you drive Chestnut, you probably recognize there's not a lot of on-street parking there, except for where you get close to St. Vincent's. So at some point, maybe we want to consider doing bike lane markings there.
Right.
But at this point, and Assumption High School would be the other area, Assumption and St. Vincent's on Chestnut.
Am I correct in that Chestnut is on 5 or 10-year plan for reconstruction?
It's actually for next year, but because we would like a bigger right-of-way, but it's an old section of town and all the houses are close, that if we were to widen it, for right now, we're hoping to get 40 feet. If we widen it to 48, which would allow parking and bike trails, we'd buy out a row of houses on one side or the other, so We're not looking to do that.
A little bit too intense.
Yeah. And what is the width, current width on?
40.
It's 40, so you'd need 8 more, but that would be tight on some of those
To do
houses.
parking and,
Parking and bike lanes. We could mark bike lanes, but we have to take the parking out.
and there is some maybe debate about the size of the lane. If you travel around different parts of the state, other communities outside the state too, there's a lot of difference in size of lanes. And so there is some sort of kind of flexibility we've got, other than if there's this, you know, you don't want to create hazards, give people a sense of security when you really don't have a sense of
Right.
security. So it's balancing, do you need to have lanes for the sake of lanes, or do you paint sharrows, giving people the kind of comfort level that they have to pay attention to surroundings? I'm curious to know the commission's feelings. We've got an avid, newly elected council member that's a bicyclist. He even bikes to council meetings. I give him kudos for that. He's competing for bike spaces. It's Dave and I, and so we only end up having more bike racks at some point here at City Hall.
I mean, it'd be nice to have more bike areas. I mean, you see a lot of people riding on the sidewalks and the roads, and I don't know, I kind of pick and choose which roads I want to ride on. I don't usually pick the busier ones, so.
Yeah.
But I mean, Baker is a busy road. I don't know if it's better to go off of Baker. I mean, I don't know what other options there are.
Well, if it's painted and designated as a bike lane, then technically you could actually issue a citation, right? If they're traveling in the.
Yeah, I'd have to check with the police, but that would be the idea. It'd be a
Right.
solid white line,
Right.
and that would be the bike lane, so if a car was traveling in it.
And I think in additional, whether or not it's used on Baker, for example, it's almost just a recognition that these are shared use roads, that we don't
Right.
just create roads for motorists, we also create road for bicyclists and other users too. And so there's almost a dramatic effect that when you've got painted lanes, that people are recognizing as bicyclists as well, or the potential for bicyclists.
We talked the other day, Dave, about people understanding all these paintings. I mean, what's the education process here?
Right, yeah, there aren't too many people that know what the Sharrow sign actually means. It just means shared right of way. And it's a picture of a bicycle with 2 stripes, like corporal stripes above it. So, it will take a while for people to understand what that means.
Otherwise, it's a good proposal here, good plan, so.
At this point, it's not super disruptive, given the fact that a lot of it's still current. There's a couple of new routes that we're recognizing and then painting the sharrows. I will be speaking, well, I'll mention one more thing. I will be speaking with Village President from Buren, John Evenson, about their plans along South Buren Drive, essentially, or First Street. So hopefully I have something about that in the next month's report on kind of this project and how this has been coming. So they're getting close to dealing with their right-of-way concerns and getting their path along the river established up in Buren.
Okay, any input from any of the commissioners, or? Otherwise, we just need to approve this and let it continue through the system.
Yeah, I guess
Is
refer
that
to
right?
Public Works or,
Okay. So I guess we would.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion made by Derek, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Derek, second by Colleen, to allow this proposal continue through to Public Works. And all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Mayor and Dave. Item number 5, approval of policy for park reservation fee waivers.
I'm trying to put this together.
This was held over from last meeting also, it went back to the staff for,
Send these out to everybody?
I have one, yeah, so.
Basically, Dawn and I discussed what we thought were a few points that we wanted to hit and be incorporated in a policy change, and this is kind of what we came up with.
Just a couple guidelines for some situations that
Right.
sometimes come up.
Not advertised, only mentioned if requested. I'm sorry. What?
We just, not to just.
We're not gonna
That's all, we're not
promote
gonna
this.
promote
I mean,
it,
we have
right.
enough people calling and asking where we don't feel that it's necessary to actually promote this. These groups generally will call on their own and request from us. We just didn't feel that it was necessary for us to actually promote this.
Okay, good.
And what's a special event defined as?
I
Blossom
think Cranberry
Fest?
Blossom
Blossom
Fest was the
Fest
one
would
thing
be,
that was
right.
talked about, yep.
Or like a community event or something?
Correct.
Large scale.
Yep. Because generally they need a lot of, items from different parks, and we've run into the situation before where people request something on that same weekend and we're pretty much tapped out. They want tables, chairs, benches, whatever it's, so.
It looks good to me, but,
Well, could I just ask the special events, do you want to just say special events take precedence,
Sure.
period? Because
Sure.
Yeah,
some of those special
definitely.
events
Yep.
fall through the weekend.
Makes sense.
Yep. Scratch the, if they're no,
I do like the fact that we're still giving allowance to one event, they
Yep.
can keep coming back and utilizing their status to.
we thought of certain groups where it's been a perennial thing and we didn't want to, not give them that opportunity. I think
Boy Scouts
Boy
is
Scouts
one.
came to mind. or-
And then it's a couple different troops usually, but it's always on a weeknight, so it's not been an issue.
So it's not been an issue.
No.
And how will you take priority or allow priority if someone comes after the fact that it's reserved in their planning? Is that?
That's what we were kind of talking about, if somebody has it for free or whatever, and then somebody actually comes in to pay. I think if it's during the week is what we kind of said.
Right, and during the week, we don't run into it often, but I guess if it came to that situation, it'd be first come, first served. If they requested it first and we give them that day, obviously, we're not gonna turn around and take it away from them, so. Where you'd run into the problem with that would be on weekends more, Mayor. During the week, it'd be a rare time when we'd have that, interaction between the two, so.
Well, and you specify, Matt, 2 weekend reservations
Right.
paid only, so that would eliminate the nonprofits
Right.
from
The weekends.
Right.
capitalizing on the weekends.
Do we need to give background for the members that maybe weren't part of the discussion last time? It's pretty straightforward, but.
We've just had some people come in occasionally that want a free rental, and we didn't know how to handle it because it has been talked about, or hadn't been talked about since 2008. So I just had requested that it be revisited, just because there's some new commission members, and just to have something completely clear, no matter who is working in the office at the time, if I have somebody else cover, or if Mary's there, or whatever. So we all are on the same page.
We share office staff on second floor now, more than in the past, and you need something that no matter who's in there, it's simple and it's a clear understanding for everybody involved, so.
I think it looks good. I'll make the motion to approve the policy as presented with the change of the special events take precedence.
everyone understand the motion? Right, Jay? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, there's a motion made and seconded to accept the waiver or the fee policy here. All in favor signify, with the exceptions, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, and thank you, Matt and Dawn,
Thank you.
for your efforts. Item number 6, we have some bills to look at.
Yes.
I guess we could, so
Here are the bills and the list.
Okay.
I don't remember if those were emailed. I think I emailed
Yes.
the list.
I
Okay.
had them, so,
That's, if
Um,
anybody needs a copy of the list of the
would
bills.
someone want to take a look at those? And Chad, thank you. And we'll move on to the staff reports. So we'll come back to the bills. Mary?
Did you, Dawn, send my written report out? No?
I don't know if I emailed it. I
Yeah.
have hard
No?
copies.
Okay. We kicked off our summer registration May 15th. So we have some programs that we still have openings. Otherwise, we do have a variety of programs that have filled up. All of our T-ball and pitch ball are filled with waiting lists, our babysitting, the basketball programs, all of the gymnastics with the tumble bugs and tumble tykes, all of the sessions have filled up. So we'll continue taking registration in the classes that are not filled until they either begin or until they are filled. I was at a volunteer fair at Lincoln High School on May 19th. It was something new that Sue Zernhelt had put together, the volunteer coordinator over there. And every day that week, they had a different nonprofit group over there. They had 3 or 4 people at the same time. So it gave us a chance to promote, to reach the kids for our summer programs, because since they're not in school, those student volunteers are very hard to reach in the summer. So this was a way of communicating with them before our season started. So, and I got a few good volunteers lined up for the summer, so that's a good thing. The zoo opened up on the 26th for this season. And the training for everybody was completed for all of the attendants who happen to be longtime attendants at the zoo, so. I had my T-ball coaches meeting last night, so hopefully they are all set to go. We kick off that big program on June 11th. And we start some of our summer programs this Thursday. And I complete my seasonal hiring process with all the paperwork and stuff on June 9th for all of the summer employees that will be working with us. And I start with my lifeguard training June 10th with all of them. And Mead Pool is scheduled to open on June 11th, as I was told by Matt today. So the construction went well and he did a good job.
Is that in the stone?
That'll probably come up in your report, huh?
Tonight, I'm just gonna decompress a little bit.
So calm when you came back.
Give him one. Good cold milk.
Okay, Mary, thank you.
I wasn't in the office much the last week and a half, so I don't have a written report, but I'm happy to report that as of the end of the day today, the pool was, the diving end had been refilled and we had no further raising of the structure and no further cracking. And the deck is reported, the fence is back up, and it looks like we will open on schedule. It was quite a process, and unfortunately, we had to get a little more involved than what we had hoped, but the bottom line is that we ended up having to actually excavate from behind the pool out into the parking lot and run 6-inch drain tile. With the first 2 economical methods that we tried, neither one would work because of the type of soil in the area and the type of backfill that had been used on the pool originally. We couldn't sink dewatering points. And Bertram Judeman made an attempt at drilling a well, and the soil was so tight, it was a very tight clay, and we could get no water to permeate through the soil. So we ended up with the excavation. It was more costly, but we will be open. So that's the good news. As it stands right now, everything else at the pool so far, I don't anticipate any other major problems in opening, so I think we're good. Our summer help's all here. They've been out string trimming, doing the various park cleanups, all that type of thing. Both mowers have been out. It's been a little bit of a struggle on mowers because of the wetness. We've been stuck numerous times. We're trying to be careful. I tell them, try to avoid the real soft spots, but with the way the grass is growing right now, I'm sure, we may get an occasional complaint. The grass complaints, we have Ray on board this year, and he's doing too good of a job. We're getting stacks of grass complaints, so I guess that's a good thing. I mean, he's doing his job, and I've got one guy, he's pretty much every day he's been out on grass complaints, so that's keeping him pretty busy.
Generating revenue for the city at the same time.
Well, it's pretty much a wash, yeah, they pay, yeah. So, We also are getting close on a couple of our other projects. The downtown flower project is getting close. I believe they're supposed to be delivered next week. And I think Water and Light is going to actually hang them from the last meeting we had. And we have gotten our watering tank, and we're about 80% on that. We're going to have to build a wand on that yet. We should be ready to go on time on that as well. And the trees, I had a discussion with Sue today, and they should be here the week of the 16th. And then some of you may have noticed some stakes on the area of the expressway and some of the corners, and those are areas that will be replanted.
56 stakes.
Some stakes, yes. Yep. So,
Lots of trees.
lots of trees.
30 though this spring.
Correct.
So the bottom of that pool well, the bottom of that met that catch basin outlet invert?
We could not get to the bottom. We ran the pipe as flat as we could, and we're at about 8 feet. And the bottom of the pool is 10'6". But it did help. When we were digging, the water just started boiling out from the back side of that pool. I mean, it was just rolling out of there. So,
So the bottom of that well is still sitting on a rock down underneath there, right? Or,
yeah. All we did was excavate on the east side of the pool wall down to the point where it slants in. And that was pretty much as deep as we could go and still make it to the catch basin and with any pitch at all, so. And the water runs steady.
Oh, yeah.
So. Hopefully that's gonna buy us some time.
That probably will. Anybody have any questions or? Otherwise, thank you very much. Matt, Mary? Dick, could you take a look, or Chad, I'm sorry.
Bills look good. I'll make a motion to approve the bills, place them on file.
Second those.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the bills. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And we move to number 8, any adjournment.
I would like a request, with the summer months, like we did, we met at Mead Pool for one meeting. I would like to start meeting at various parks if we could. You know, I know a lot of us probably don't just drive to the park and see it on a day-to-day basis like Matt does, but it's nice to keep everything fresh in our minds of what the park looks like and what kind of, I know there's some money that's in our account for different special projects for the future, and maybe we could start thinking of what we could do for some improvements or some things to add to certain things. So it'd be nice to have a visual and the walk around and get the tour from Matt at each one, pick one. I would like to start next month at Robinson,
Great, great idea.
if you're all in agreement with that.
Mhm, you bet.
And given the vandalism and the repairs and all of the work out there, it'd probably help.
Think we'll
Good
find a
place to
meeting?
We,
How far will you?
Jason from IT actually has been up to Robinson Park, and they've been doing antenna tests for signal strength. And we've gotten bids from H&S and Permar on cameras. So we're getting close. We should have a proposal very soon. It was just a question of getting the antenna mounting and the line of sight to see if we have a strong enough signal on the cameras, so that's coming along. So, and then now that we're through this pool thing a little bit, I can start scheduling if somebody wants to do some one-on-ones. I should have some time coming up next week, hopefully.
Oh, for tours, you're saying?
Yeah, so, if anybody, just call our office and, let me know what week you're available, and we'll set up a time and we can do a park tour on one-on-ones, so that we have some time if you have questions, whatever.
And then I'd like to, after Robinson, it would be nice to do like, over on Spring Street.
Poplar.
Poplar Springs.
Yeah, that one, and then the one that kind of gets lost up by North
North
Avenue.
Park, Ward Johnson.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
I've got an item 2 that may or may not come up on the agenda, is putting together a pool ad hoc committee for some conversations regarding the usage of our existing city pool. And obviously, we're all aware from the challenges that we've had there that So the ad hoc committee, I'd imagine, would be members of this committee and then some members of the city council as well as some staff. So whether I need to bring it to the agenda or not, we'll have some members of this body be a part of that conversation as well, since we're continuing to have discussions about what it is that we may do as a city with our pool structure.
Good.
I will have a meeting in June though yet,
I believe so.
yes.
Yes.
I just want to make sure.
The regular.
You said next month,
Well, I-
you mean this June,
Mm.
right? Yeah, I just want to make sure I go to the right place at the right time.
So there will be one at the last Wednesday of June.
Yes.
And I think Finance and Property approved a concert or some sort of music event at the band shell at Robinson Park for Blossom Fest. It'll be, right?
No, it was a
They didn't-
private.
Oh, it's a private event?
For tickets, yeah.
Oh, so it's, okay, so they're selling tickets for it. Okay. Gotcha. But they did approve it, so it's happening, okay.
Anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, signify
Not
by
a rush.
saying
Aye.
aye. Opposed? Thank you, everybody. Good night. Go to public health.